We've been eating the beet greens raw. I just keep picking and picking and picking. We eat them pretty well every single day. And I was worried that maybe I was taking too much and that it needed to be shaded down at the base. But, you know, the leaves just keep coming, so I just keep using it. But I need to cook some, and then you also have the broth that you can drink, that wonderful, nutritious water that you cook greens in. You never want to waste that water because a lot of nutrients goes into the cooking water. Kale. But we're going to have to be careful when we water, because we kind of think, we know that the tomato plants, when you water the leaves on the tomato plants, you can cause disease. So this looks like the same situation with these leaves, because like what happens is you water the kale. Everything's in close proximity, so you water the kale and you end up getting the leaves of the grapevine. And oh, we were hoping that the grapes would do well, but don't know. We just have to wait and see. So these tomatoes, they look pretty darn healthy in the hardwood mulch. Now this is the hardwood mulch from a garden center. And then as we go on through here, you can see the mulch that we got from a tree service. And Paul, I'm not sure if you say gotcha, from Back to Eden, recommended, if you're lucky enough to be able to get the mulched up tree. So you see the difference here. So we haven't been doing much of any watering on the tomato plants, but every now and then we have given them a shot of water, but according to Paul, you really don't need to, because the moisture holds down underneath this mulch and it releases it. So I'll have to show you over here the vertical cucumbers. So they're really doing well. Look at this really giant one. There's so much to do. I need to be juicing some of these. I want to dehydrate because my husband made a dehydrator that we are having a few little, we have to iron out some little wrinkles with it before we get in full swing of using the dehydrator. I'm going to show you this giant. There's a very large one. He's given a lot of them away, and we have a lot still. But that one there, I mean, these are really, really doing well in this vertical growing system here. Because of our space, we just have to do it, and otherwise it would just take up so much space if this was all spread out on the ground. Okay, this is the flat leaf kale that reseeded itself. I just kept watering it. It had this yellow flower on it, and it bolted. And the bees just love these little flowers. And so I just kept watering it. And lo and behold, it reseeded itself, and we have these giant leaves. And I am going to use these leaves as wraps instead of the taco shells that we get the rice. We're trying to stay away from GMO foods, so we get the rice tacos. But they're pretty darn expensive, and this would be a much healthier choice, I believe. But anyhow, like if you're going to cook kale, you want to take this big stem off. I just tore it off. You just kind of fold the leaf in half like that, and you hold the folded leaves in one hand, and in the other hand you just strip that off of it, and that way it'll cook more uniformly, and it'll cook much quicker, because the stems are way tougher than what the leaf is. So I'll always take all the stems off when I cook the kale. But just look how amazing, and I have done nothing but water this. Look at this wonderful amount of kale. So over here, I did some transplanting of the carrots, and I cut the tops off, the larger tops, left the smaller tops on it, and they're doing well. I just have to wait and see. They were just planted too close together, so the carrots really weren't amounting to much, but I'm hoping that they'll come along well here, because they look that little green top looks pretty darn healthy to me. So anyhow, I've got my buckets ready to pick some more green beans. So I'm gonna get my spaghetti pot out, and I'm going to tear the ends off of them tonight and snap them and have ready for a big pot of beans and taters. So they're all the way up to the top of the trellis. And this is the trellis that my husband built this summer. So we've got everything packed in here like sardines because of the city lot. We have to try to do the vertical growing. And so there is the grapevine that's almost all the way up to the top. And then over here is the curly leaf. I call it the curly leaf. We have been eating on this for a long time, and we use this in place of the lettuce. Now that looks like a plain old dandelion green to me, and it tastes like a dandelion green, so I'm going to call it that. But it was in with our lettuce seeds, and it has really lasted. But of course we have the shade cloth over this, so that's really extended the life of it. But the other type of lettuce, it's done bolted, and it didn't last so long. But this here, it's really we've got a lot of mileage out of this. I'm going to film it inside the shade. I'm not sure if it was going to show up okay. I have a tendency to move too fast with this camera, so I'll try to do better. I'm going to film this through the shade cloth. This is the lettuce that we grew in the greenhouse, and then I transplanted it outside. And this is August, so the shade cloth really helps give it a chance, because that sun beating down lettuce has a tendency, if it gets real hot, to go to seed really quick.